Chapter 9, Mishnah 2. When someone redeems his field from the person he sold it to, the price he pays is based on the price he received for it. The Mishnah now discusses how much the owner must pay when he redeems his field not from the person he sold it to, but from someone else who bought it from that buyer. The Mishnah speaks of cases in which the price per year of the second sale was different from the price of the first. If the owner of an ancestral field sold the field to the first buyer for a maneh, 100 dinars, and when the first buyer sold it to the second buyer for and then the first buyer sold it to the second buyer for 200 dinars. The original owner calculates the redemption price only according to the lower price that the first buyer paid, 100 dinars, not according to the higher price that the second buyer paid, 200 dinars. He then pays that lower amount to the second buyer and takes back his field. For it says in Vayikra, chapter 25, verse 27, and he, i.e. the owner, shall calculate the years of his sale to the man to whom he sold the field. The man to whom he sold the field is the first buyer, not the second buyer. Thus, the verse teaches that the owner calculates the redemption price based on what the first buyer paid. The Mishnah considers the reverse case. If the original owner sold the field to the first buyer for 200 dinars, and the first buyer then sold it to a second buyer for a maneh, 100 dinars, the owner calculates the redemption price only according to the lower price that the last buyer paid, 100 dinars, not according to the higher price that the first buyer paid, 200 dinars. For it says in the verse quoted above, and he, the owner, shall calculate the years of the sale to the man, meaning to the man who is now in the field, i.e. the second buyer. We learn from here that if the second buyer's price is lower than the first buyer's, the owner calculates the redemption price based on the second buyer's price. The Mishnah sets certain limits on a person's right to redeem the ancestral land he sold. He may not sell a distant ancestral field and use the money he receives to redeem a closer ancestral field. Since the distant field was in his possession at the time he sold the closer field, he cannot use that asset to redeem the closer field. A person may redeem an ancestral field only with assets he acquired after he sold his field. For the same reason, a person may not sell an inferior field and use the money of the sale to redeem a superior field. He may also not borrow money and use it to redeem his ancestral field. Rather, he must use money of his own. And he may not redeem the field by halves. If he does not have enough money to redeem the entire field, he may not redeem half of it now and the other half at a later date. Rather, he must wait until he has enough money to redeem the entire field at one time. These are the laws for redeeming an ancestral field he sold. The laws for redeeming an ancestral field that was consecrated to the temple treasury are different. But in the case of a consecrated field, the owner is permitted to do any of these things in order to redeem it. He may sell another ancestral field and use the money to redeem the consecrated field. He may borrow money to redeem a consecrated field, and he may redeem even half of the field. This is the way in which the law for an ordinary person is stricter than the law for the temple treasury. An owner may not redeem his field from an ordinary person in these three ways, but he may do so when he redeems it from the temple treasury.